All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. All right. How to succeed financially in 2025. How to succeed financially in 2025. I think we could break this down into a few key items. So, number one is developing your 5 year plan. Now, most of you think, like, oh, I have to just think about 2025 to be successful in 2025. I think you should be developing a 5 year plan, and you should be saying, okay, in 2030, I want to be here, right? Because you're not going to get everything done in 2025. And that's how you kind of be successful in 2025. You don't put all the burden in one year, you kind of space it out. And you say, okay, by this year, I want to have this thing done. And this year, I want to do this, and so on and so forth. And it's usually good if you put it in a 5 year plan, because most people just think short term, right? Most people are like, okay, I want to save up to $10,000. Then they save up to $10,000 and then they just blow it on a vacation or they blow it on a car. So what was really the point of saving up to that 10,000? A better plan would be, okay, I'm going to save up to 10,000. This is going to go into a certain asset, whether it's a paper asset, a real estate property, and I'm going to build on top of that. So you need to have a 5 year plan to say, okay, this is what I want to be. This is where I want to be in the next 5 years. And I think that's how you succeed financially in 2025. First is developing a long-term plan. You're not going to be able to get everything done in 2025. So you need to be developing your long-term plan. And it's better to write it out, not just put it in your brain. So you go to Target, go to Walgreens, CVS, get a notebook and draw out your 5 year plan, or write it in your phone, your notes. You need to have it written out. That way you can always go back to it and remind yourself and say, okay, this is my 5 year plan. Am I hitting the goals that I set? And once it's concrete, it's easy to go back to and hold yourself accountable, right? All right, so the second point is you want to make checkpoints. So as you create your 5 year plan, you want to say, okay, by year 2, I should be at this amount of money. And I like to do things that are measurable. I usually like to use a dollar amount because, it's measurable. It's something you could look back and say, okay, did I hit that goal or did I not hit that goal? And most people run away from measurable goals because, again, you could easily say that you failed or you succeeded. I see a lot of people that do this. I'm not going to say what class, I'm just going to say a lot of people run away from measurable goals, right? They either say, no, that's not the amount that you're supposed to need by this year. And even if it's not, right? Even if I say, okay, by 30, I should have $250,000 saved up or invested. Even if that's not the case, at least I make my goals measurable. That way I could say, okay, I either succeeded or failed. Because once you know if you succeeded or fail, if you succeeded, okay, now you know you can amplify your goal, right? You could raise the stakes. If you failed, you could say, okay, well, now I know what I need to get to. What do I have left? All right, my goal was 250. I got to 125. I have 125 left, right? And maybe you just expand out the time frame, but you still keep that goal measurable to say, okay, this is where I want to be, right? And a lot of people are scared to do that because they don't want to say, okay, I failed or I succeeded. And I'm not sure why, because most people fail, right? You're not going to succeed at the first thing you do. When I first started with paper assets, I started trading penny stocks, which is probably one of the worst class of stocks to trade because they're so volatile, and it literally to start into, right? Maybe when you get more experience, they could be a lot more lucrative. But when you're first starting off, it's definitely an asset class that will, give you a reality check, right? On basically how the stock market moves and stuff like that. So I felt there. I didn't get crypto right away. So most of you are going to fail. You just want to do it early. You want to make your goals measurable. Because if your goals are not measurable, you're basically just working towards nothing. And that also leads to the lack of motivation, right? If you're working towards nothing, you have a lack of motivation. You don't you're not working towards anything, right? If I every day I'm making a video on YouTube, I don't really have any end goal. It kind of gets boring. But unless you really like it too, that also plays a role in it. But again, you should know your end goal, because that's why a lot of you lack motivation. So that's going to give you the motivation to see it all the way through. Because I do have an end goal for YouTube, right? Even though I do enjoy making videos and things like that, I have an end goal, so it keeps me motivated, right? And if I didn't hit that yet, it's still like, okay, I have to put more work in. I have to change this. I have to do that. And obviously you want to see progression. You want to see that, okay, I'm getting, a little bit of followers here. The videos are getting traction, or whatever you're working towards. You do want to see some progress. But if you don't have that end goal, it's hard to be motivated. So make sure you set those checkpoints. So let's say you have a 5-year goal. You check in a year and a half to see, okay, I want it to be here at this certain point. Did I get here, right? And then what that allows you to do, it doesn't allow you to be surprised at the 5-year mark and say, okay, you didn't do any checkpoints within that 5 years, and then you're wondering why you didn't complete your goal. So at least have three to four checkpoints within that 5-year period, so you could say, okay, I'm hitting my goals. I'm on track, and I'm on pace to complete out all my goals by the end of this 5-year mark, right? All right, the next thing would be health. Again, this is a financial nutrition channel, but, I found out when I worked out, I've been working out for the last 3.5 years, but I found out working out consistently, always keeping that schedule, helps out with everything else, right? A lot of you don't work out, you're out of shape and things like that, and there's no point of making all this money and being unhealthy. So make sure you do develop some type of plan to be fit. Maybe it's you start off slow. A lot of people have bad habits when it comes to their diet, when it comes to their just their consistency to work out. So maybe you start off slow. Maybe you say, okay, 2 days out of the week, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to I'm going to clean up my diet a little bit. Maybe I don't have pizza 3 times a week. Maybe I just do one cheat day out of the week, and then I cut out all the other stuff that's not, good for my body, right? Like for me, it was a lot. I mean, it wasn't a lot. I mean, I ate, I wouldn't say, I think I was always consistent with the gym, but my diet wasn't as clean. Like I would drink coffee, which coffee, I mean, most people need it, especially if you're waking up early and stuff like that, which is, I guess if you keep it to a minimum, you don't put too much sugar, but, I cut that out. And I still do have a cheat day, right? Like in the week, I'll get something that I like. So that way it allows you to keep moving forward. Like you don't want to go too strict, because then it just turns you off to the diet completely. Like you want to make sure that, you don't go too extreme. And I say the same thing with investing, right? You don't want to invest too much where you don't have no money to enjoy yourself, right? You're just investing all your money. You want to start off slow. So when it comes to fitness, you should be consistent. At some point, it should just be a part of your life. But make sure you start off slow. You don't just jump into it and just get yourself turned off. I noticed that when I just jump in full steam into something, I get turned off. So I slowly incorporate it into my lifestyle, and then I'm able to see it through, right? And that's the most important part. I'd rather you do like 2 days working out for the whole year, opposed to doing 5 days a week for a month, right? Because it's just not going to serve you well. All right, so the next thing is your mindset. A lot of you have that broke mentality mindset where you think you're always going to be broke, like especially if you were a person that grew up poor. You have that mindset that, oh, I grew up poor, I'm going to stay poor, right? So for those people, I would recommend surrounding yourself with people that are getting money. So, and I know for a lot of you, you can't do that because you don't have that community, physical community, right? You don't have that physical community around you to go to and get that inspiration, right? So you could develop a digital community where you can say, okay, these are my group of 5 people that are doing everything that I want to do financially, right? So maybe you have your real estate guy on YouTube, or you maybe have a course, you have your crypto guy, you have your stock guy, maybe you just have an overall finance person that you go to and you say, okay, these are my group of 5 that I get inspiration from when I need financial, some financial push, right? Because again, if you're a person that grew up middle class or below middle class, most likely you don't have those people around you a lot. And I could say that in my family, a lot of my family are doing the same thing they did 20 years ago, right? So it's hard to grow financially or be financially successful in the new year if you're around people that don't want to be financially successful, right? And you need to be around people that are throwing around big numbers. 200,000 here, 300,000 there, 400,000 there. Before, I thought those numbers were huge. But now that I'm surrounded around people that are just throwing out those numbers casually, it kind of just makes them more attainable, right? Like if you're trying to make your first 250,000 or your first 500,000 or your first million, it'll be a lot easier if you don't really see it as such a tall task. A lot of you see these numbers as a tall task, and you don't want to even get started. So you need to make sure that you are you're not thinking of these things as a tall task, right? There's hundreds of thousands of millionaires out there in the world. Why not you? Why not? And you don't necessarily need to be a millionaire, but why not? Why not make a few 100,000? Why not? Oop, that thing moved. Why not? Make a 10, 20,000 a month, right, from your business. You could do it too. You just need to surround yourself with people that are hitting these goals and not think everything's a tall task, right? And it's going to be hard to do that if you don't have the right community around you. That's why, for the most part, my community is digital, right? I don't have a lot of people physically that are, have the same mindset. For the most part, a lot of people around me are defensive when it comes to making money. And when you want to make money, you need to be a lot more offensive, right? You need to take risk. That's a lot of things too. A lot of people that I grew up in the middle class don't want to take any risk. And you have to take risk. And the way you combat that is doing it as early as possible, right? Now, if you're a person that's in your 30s or 40s and you want to still get there, you're going to have to take risks too, right? But it doesn't change the psychology of how you make money. There's always needs to be risk. Just because you're older doesn't change that. Yes, it's going to hurt a lot more because maybe you do have kids, maybe you have a lot more responsibility, but you need to make sure that you understand that in order to make money, there's going to be some risk involved. See, it's not going to be in some time, right? A lot of alone time, unless you're collaborating with a community that has the same mindset. So maybe you could do some work together. But for the most part, it's going to be yourself working towards your goals. And you got to be okay with that. You can't be always trying to be at the party or always trying to be at the beach or always trying to be somewhere and then wonder why you don't hit your goals. So just make sure you build out that community in 2025. You get your group of 5 and you say, okay, these people are the people I go to for financial inspiration. And they get me on track when I get off track, or they get me on track when I don't feel as good, right? There's some days where I don't feel like doing certain things, and then I go to my group of 5 and then I go gain my motivation again, right? So make sure you do that. And those are the ways to be successful in 2025 financially. Make sure you follow those things, and I think you'll do well. All right, take care, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.